about to go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Keeping the Beat, an engaging web series hosted live by TNMEA in partnership with the CMA Foundation. Tune in weeknights, Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time to learn from and interact with music professionals from around the globe, representing every facet of the vast world of music. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd, and my name is John Wittmann, and I'm the Senior Director of Artist Relations and Education for Yamaha Corporation. Tonight, I am going to be talking to you about the 10 things I wish I knew. And I'll explain what that talk is about in a second. I'm really looking forward to giving this talk to you. It'll be fun. I encourage you to interact by replying to this live video stream with your questions and comments, and I will respond throughout the hour with the assistance of the lovely and talented Carolyn Wittmann. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Johnny.
Okay. So one more disclaimer. I want to let you know that while this is being streamed live, it will remain on Keeping the Beat Facebook page for future reference. So as such, your comments will remain part of the archive. So know that. Okay, so I want to explain, first of all, I love talking to people and talking to students and teachers all over the country. I've been very, very blessed to have a lot of opportunities. When Dr. Julie Hill called and said, hey, I'd really like you to be part of this, I said, of course, because when Dr. Julie Hill asks you to do something, you say, yes, ma'am. And we talked about what I might offer, and she insisted on me offering the talk that I gave down at the University of Tennessee, Martin, a while ago, and I'm happy to do so. Before I delve into the talk, you should know where it comes from and where I come from. I can't expect you to know what I do and who I am or anything like that. So just in a nutshell, I grew up in upstate New York. I'm a drummer by trade. I do work for Yamaha. I've been working with Yamaha full-time for 23 years, always dealing with education and artist relations. I'm an old band director from New York. I was a band director there for years at Keavney Academy and also Waterford Half Moon School District. And I still keep in touch with some of my students, and I love to hear from them. I played professionally for years and years and years on the road, and came back to the great Northeast in upstate New York and got my master's in conducting and continued as a band director, et cetera, and then went back on the road for more time. That led me to teaching here in Indianapolis while I was getting involved very much as a clinician and as an educator and as a drummer, just a live working drummer, which is what I love. The relationship with Yamaha started with a man named Rick Young, and Rick is still a dear friend to this day. I've loved working in the music industry. It's never been a straight path for me. It's been all over the map, and I know that that's the way it is for a lot of people. So to the point of this talk, 10 things I wish I knew. My brother and I, Jeff, were talking years and years ago about a book we had read that said that when you pass away from the earth and you're face to face with the Creator, that Creator is going to look at you and say one thing: what have you learned? And the more I thought about that, man, I'm telling you, that question has haunted me my entire life. After a really good day or after a really tough day, I ask myself, well, what have you learned? And I write a lot, I journal a lot, I read a lot. And that led to a tradition of mine, which happens on New Year's Day, where I sit with my journals quietly and have lots of coffee. And I look back and I ask myself, what have you learned? I mean, if 365 days have passed, should I not know and be able to answer the question, what have you learned? So I started writing these things down and writing these things down. And for years, I've been giving this talk, various versions of it, at NAMM and PASIC and different MEAs and lots of music schools and colleges. So you can view this as me kind of writing a letter to myself as a young man. I encourage you not to take what I say as the gospel truth for your life at all. I'll offer it, but you should chew it up. And if it doesn't make sense in your life, that's totally okay. It'll be a little challenging for me to give this talk just, looking at a computer here in my drum room, but I'm going to give it a shot. And remember, if you do have questions, you can just write them in, and then Carolyn will tell me what they are, and I'll answer them as we go. Okay? All right. So let's start. 10 things I wish I knew. The first thing, number one of 10 that I hope to get through in this talk is that relationships, not technique, lead to success. Number one is relationships, not technique, lead to success. You must build both, no question about it. I'm 60 years old, and whenever I throw my clothes in a suitcase to go somewhere on a business trip, also goes the pad, the real feel pad, the Vic Firth drumsticks, and George Lawrence Stone stick control. It still goes. I'm still working on Great Hands for Life by Tommy Igoe, etc. You always have got to work. It never ends on your technique. That having been said, it's relationships that will ensure your longevity in the music business. Technique exists only to free you and to enable you to express beautifully what you want to express on your instrument. It's probably not going to get you a gig or asked to be back for another gig. I know Jeff Coffin spoke beautifully last night with Victor Wooten, and we see eye to eye on this. I remember a long time ago, Jeff said to me, being a great musician will play such a tiny role in your success as a musician. You have to foster relationships, and that's exactly what I'm saying here. So before you tune me out and think, oh, that's nice, just, it's kind of like be nice to people and stuff, it's really not that. This is serious, hardcore business advice. So take it from somebody who's made a lot of mistakes. There's a word, it's kind of an old-fashioned word. It's kind of passé and maybe a little geeky, but it's called civility. And civility means to be civil. And there's a code to it, and it's simple, and it's free. It costs you nothing. It can give you so much. And civility basically says treat everyone with respect and manners and professionalism, professional courtesy at all times. Personally, when you're with them, in the written word, and also, when you're on the phone or you're communicating through people, you're always civil. You're always courteous at all times. You speak kindly. Your written word is classy. It's just who I aspire to be all the time. You refrain from profanity. You refrain from disparaging remarks. And I didn't understand this at all when I was growing up. And I was taught this by two people, I think, really. The first one was a lady named Joan Marie Wittmann, who was 5'2", eyes of blue, my mom. And if I was at all disrespectful or showed anything less than respect for all the people in my neighborhood, like a lot of the broken men, from World War II and Vietnam and the Korean conflict, or people that were just, in the service industries, if I was a touch disrespectful, man, she would ice me with one look. And it took me about 2 weeks to thaw out from that. I learned early to be really civil to people. Second person was Fred Sanford. Fred Sanford, if you're a percussionist, you just went, Fred Sanford, really? Yeah, Fred Sanford. He and I were in charge for the Sounds of Summer program, the Yamaha Sounds of Summer program, for a long time, and worked with many of our team members on it. I would get so worked up and mad at people sometimes for letting us down in these situations, and Fred would be like, Johnny, just I'll handle this. He would get on the phone, and even though he would be really upset at the guy too, he would just say, Jimmy, it's Freddie. How are you? How's Janet? Good. Hey, can you help me out? Help me understand something, man, because I'm just not understanding what's going on here. And he would unravel the situation, and he would build it up, and everybody would love Fred. Everybody would move on because he fostered relationships. Relationships, you have to water them and feed them and come back to them all the time. So that's number one. I do want to say one more thing about relationships, and that is be an interesting person. Nobody really wants to just talk to a geekazoid who can only talk about, the mechanics of music. You need to, you really got to be able to converse with people about sports and the weather and life and things and your troubles, and be open and honest and transparent and sometimes vulnerable. Be able to have a great conversation and have a fantastic answer to the question, what do you do with music? What is your music? Think about that and be able to answer it really, really beautiful. Last thought, real quick. Think about who your mentors were, and write them a handwritten note and tell them thank you for everything. Okay? I think we might have a question. Hold, please. Oh, oh, it's coming. Okay, it's coming. All right, so we're going to move on. This is number 2. Number 2 is make a little margin. Make a little margin in your life. What does that mean? Margin is space, that's all. Just a little space. This is not a huge ask of you as a human being, but there are 3 ways I think that you can make margin that could be like super, super effective for you.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
I think we have a question, everybody.
We've got viewers from West Tennessee, the great Memphis area, and Long Beach, California.
Wow, cool.
Ian Gernhardt asks, do you think it's harder to develop speed or timing? Julie?
Is that the
Do you
speed?
think it's harder to develop speed or timing? From Ian Gernhardt.
Ian Gernhardt wants to know if it's harder to develop speed or timing. And I think that both of those things you have to work on exactly at the same time. I think it's harder to develop, if I'm understanding your question correctly, a good sense of time. I think that anyone who is consistent with their study and with the application of the right kind of speed working for your hands can develop that. But I think that a good sense of timing is kind of innate. So if you don't have that, I know you can develop it, but I think it's harder to develop a great sense of time. And I think it's easier to develop speed. They all need to be developed together. Okay? Good. We got a lot of people from all over the country, which is really cool. It makes me feel good. Thank you. We're going to keep going now. As far as margin goes, a little space, right? The first spot that I think that you can add a little space to your life that would be really helpful is in the morning. I call this my get a clue time. I'm not a morning person really, but in the morning, I just build in a little time, a half an hour, where I know that I can be alone and quiet and have coffee and not have to be a functional, responsible human being. And I just look at the day and I look at my schedule and I look at the things I will go through and I lightly ask myself, what man must I be in these different situations? It's just a light way of getting into the day. I challenge you, give yourself a half an hour in the morning. You will never miss the sleep. You will never, at first you'll be like, oh dear God, what am I doing? Half an hour, no big deal. Get up, get the coffee going, get whatever you do, to get going, and then just give yourself a little time to look at the day. Get some good things in your mind. Just let some good thoughts, in reading and things get in your mind. Look over the day and ask yourself what kind of person you need to be as your day progresses. The second way that is really, really good to build in time is before a meeting, a lesson, or a performance. I don't think I'm exaggerating if I tell you I never fall into a meeting. I never just plop into it and just shoot from the hip, or I should say I rarely do. If I have a meeting at 10 o'clock, I'm really thinking about it 15 minutes or 10 minutes beforehand, unless I have meetings back to back. But if you're a student, I highly encourage you to think about your lesson beforehand, clear the deck, get a good frame of mind, give some space before you walk in the room, pull yourself together, even if you're nervous, but just ask yourself, who do I want to be when I walk in there? What is the sound I want? Give yourself that little space. No social media, just, that is your time. The third way that you can give yourself margin that is really, really helpful in the business world is in a conversation. We in America are really, really bad at, when somebody says something, just responding real quickly and not thinking and not thinking and not thinking. Give yourself a little time. Our friends and our colleagues from Japan are so good at this. You'll ask a question. They'll think. And then they'll respond. Brilliant. It's really okay. It's awkward for us, but you'll get used to it. And it's a real sign of brilliance, I think. So go for that. So that's what I wanted to offer you in terms of just margin. You don't need to rush things. Everyone has 24 hours in the day, same amount of time for everybody. All you need to do is just plan a little bit of time before important events and after them too, to soak in what you've learned. So we're going to move on. This is number 3. Number 3 is be unflappable. The mentally tough prevail. Be unflappable. The mentally tough prevail. I'm not worried about you musically. I know you're with great teachers. I'm more concerned and want to encourage you to be able to control your emotions, to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, to remain calm, to train your mind to be in control, and to know that when you receive criticism, now don't miss this, young musicians, when you receive criticism, it's only an opportunity to refine. Let your defenses down. If somebody says to you, you're speeding up, or the sound is wrong, or you're not blending, whatever, before you puff up your chest and want to say, be defensive, let everything down, look at the person and say, tell me more, be more specific, open up. You will grow so much more quickly if you accept criticism with your big boy pants on, or your big girl pants on. It's part of life. So you got to get used to it. And in the professional world, I see interns all the time who just get shattered or who get really messy when you're direct with criticism. You gotta be stronger. So you have to be unflappable. They say always fear the calmest person in the room. I always love that. It's kind of like a little scary too, but I mean, I do try to be the calmest person in the room, although I don't succeed. I got to read you just a short snippet that Warren Buffett wrote. I think is brilliant and it really lays it out. So if you struggle with taking criticism, check this out. Warren Buffett said, "You will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to things that are said to you. The power is sitting back and observing things with logic. The power is in restraint. If words control you, then everyone controls you. Breathe and allow this to pass." So, criticism comes your way. Do not let it weaken you. Take it and move on. Good? Good. Think about some of the people, the great artists who've received criticism. Fred Astaire was told he's going bald, he can't act, and he's just an okay dancer. That's what his first screen test that people told him. Walt Disney was fired for having, quote, no creativity and lack of vision. I'm not making this stuff up. Oprah let go from her first big television gig because her appearance and her voice was not her voice was not talented enough, and her appearance was not good enough for TV. Last one, J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was told literally, well, she was turned down for every book deal for, I think over 100, companies. And the last one, before she got a yes, told her to stop writing, get a day job, and to take care of her kids. So just think about those things and think about the strength it took. And thank God those people did not listen to criticism that came their way. They accepted it and moved on. Okay? Good. We're going to move on to number 4. And this one is kind of a personal one, but I think we all can relate to it in a certain way, especially if you're a musician and you're serious about music and you want to make your way as an artist. The word artist is something that is so consuming in my life. I don't know if I'm an artist. I don't know if I ever will be or if I ever was. But I work with people that are artists. And here's the point. There's no crown and no coronation on the day that you become an artist. The heavens, I've always waited for the heavens to open up when maybe I was at my peak as far as a musician. For the skies to open up and for someone to come down and to put a crown on my head, and it's like you're an artist. Finally, now you can relax. You're an artist. You've reached that point. It has never happened. There's never been a coronation, and I don't think any of the finest players in the world would ever tell you that there was a day that they became an artist. Here's the deal. If you want to get right down to it, the truth, being an artist is a verb. It's something you do. It's not a noun. You have to live and always continue going on the journey of becoming an artist. The best artists I know wake up every day and work and practice. And they may have had a great performance the night before or not a good performance the night before, but they get up and they do it again and they continue to do what an artist is. And that makes them an artist, not any crown or anything that they've accomplished. As you're going on that journey of being an artist, let me tell you something that is really, really important. Please don't compare your chapter 1 or chapter 2 with someone's chapter 20, because that can really be debilitating. It can be, destructive. You can look for them for inspiration, for sure. But don't be discouraged if you hear someone play and think, oh my God, I could never do that. I think I'll just quit. I know we've all had that, certain times in our life, but it's okay. They're on chapter 312, and you may be on chapter 6. So please just trust me. Keep going, okay?
Don, can I ask a question?
Yes, I think we have another question.
All right. Catherine Sam asks, what are some ways that you stay prepared for your day that include various meetings or events, or even rehearsing as an artist and everything? What are some ways that you stay prepared for a day that can include those kind of things? What's your prep?
For the day?
Mm-hmm. That include various meetings or an event.
Yep. The question is, how do I stay prepared? I think that what I will say is probably something that you have all heard, but I'm just gonna be straight. How do I stay prepared? I stay hydrated like crazy. I move my body. I have to, I've got to run. I've got to walk. I've got to go to the gym. I've got to, all those things that keep your body functioning well makes you effective as a person. If you're physically drained, you're not going to be, you're simply not going to be effective at all. In terms of, really staying prepared, I am a right brain person, period. But I love lists. I love calendars. I love planning. Carolyn always laughs at me because I over prepare for things. I do really prepare. And I don't know where that came from. I don't like to sound bad. I don't like to be unprepared for a musical experience. I way over, rehearse material for things like that. So to answer your question, I go back from where I have to perform, and I build in time for preparation. And that time is sacred. I am immovable. No phone, no anything. And I prepare. As far as, a lot of meetings during the day and things like that, if I show up and haven't looked at the day yet, that's not going to be a good thing. Before I really crash at night, I look at the day and think about, do I have stuff covered? Do I have things prepared? Usually, there in the morning early, get things together, compartmentalize, plan things. And then I jump in full force, with a lot of energy, both feet in the deep end, and go forward. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for that question. We're moving on? Okay. All right.
I'll ask another question here shortly.
Okay, great. So we just talked about, there is no crown or ceremony. Let's talk about number 5. This is mastering. How are we doing on time? We're doing good. Number 5 is master your words. Master your words. God, I wish I knew this as a young man. Life would have been so easy. Not so easy. Life would have been a hell of a lot easier if I just knew when to not talk. I just had this way of blurting out things. We all have these mechanisms of one mouth and two ears, and we should use them in that ratio. We all have control over what we say. My team and the teams I work with at Yamaha, we're very careful how to word things as not to hurt each other or to shut each other's thinking down. We blue sky things. That means you go into an idea session with an open mind, no criticisms, no dark undertones or innuendo. We try to help people think openly, and you do that by controlling your words. Ask yourself: is what I want to say, is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it necessary? That's the big one. A lot of people blurt stuff out in meetings and in relationships and in rehearsals that you just don't need to say it. So just hold on to it. Just hold on to it. You don't need to say everything that you think of. Trust me. If I could go back and take in some of the destructive things I've said, I have a sharp tongue and sense of humor sometimes that is just too sharp, and I've really, really got to pay attention to it. So it's how you say things so often that can move you exponentially quicker in business. One of the biggest fights that I ever had professionally was with a colleague, and we were really, really at each other. I was just searching for wisdom and did read in the Bible that, a gentle word turns away wrath. And I brought that forward into that relationship. And the first time that me and this person really spoke head on, we had to really, really face it. I just paid attention to gentle words, and I watched everything just kind of melt away, the anger. And I continued to work toward a solution with this person. And it worked out fantastic. Just take my advice and weigh your words carefully. It's how you say things that often matter the most. I'm going to just lay out a few things. This is the list of things that Johnny wish he knew about controlling words, okay? Just going to go through them, take what you want, leave what you want. 1, stop gossip, period. Stop gossip. You know what it is. You know when you're dragged into it. Stop it. Defend those not present. Be kind. Defend those not present. Just stop talking about other people. Number 2, go to the main person. If you're having a problem with somebody at work, don't tell their boss. Don't tell your friends. Ask the person if they have a half an hour and go get a cup of coffee and face it. Number 3, we tell this to our interns all the time. Be brief, be brilliant, and be gone. Say what you want to say. Know what you want to say before you get in the room with me, and then leave. That's not to say be, I'm not trying to play any power play. I'm just saying, know what you want to say exactly that, and know that I'm busy and you are too. So, know when to go. Write short emails, please. Please, everybody, please promise me you'll write short emails. If you write me a diatribe of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs of your new best idea and you end it with your thoughts, ? You will never receive a response from me. Emails are used to exchange information. If you want to think, pick up the phone and call me, okay? Learn how to say no. This is really, really important, young people and older people too. If you can't or don't want to do something, if somebody calls you for a gig or a teaching position or something, and you don't want to do it or you can't, quickly and kindly respond, starting with, thank you so much for thinking about me, but I'm unable to fill in the blank. You don't have to explain why. Just say, thank you so much for thinking about me. I know I can't do it. Please give me a call back again. I'd love to work with you again. Just 2 more on this. To teachers. Now, I know I haven't been in teaching for a long time, so just hang with me for a second. Teachers, please return to lacing your words to your students with grace. You don't have to yell. Never embarrass anybody or put them on the spot in front of a group of people. That could last a lifetime. It's not necessary. One of the most amazing teachers I've ever seen in my life was Wesley Sandberg. He was a choral teacher, Watford Heffernan School, where I was a band director. I had to walk through like the chorus room to get to my little office. Sometimes I'd walk in and there wouldn't be a sound, and then I'd turn, there'd be like 80 students standing there, and Wes would just be looking at the music, and he'd look up and he'd go, start at B. And that's all he had to do. He just had this control. I wanted that. I just needed to know, how he did that. He always spoke so professionally to his students with such respect. And I love that. I'll never forget that. I learned from Wes Sandberg. Thank you, Wes. So to all your teachers, if there's a problem in the low brass section, just stop the band, look at the section leader and say to him, figure that out, please. Scope that out. I'll give you a few minutes. Figure it out. Thank you. Or I heard Mike Potes say to his band once in Carmel High School, you must have an opinion. What is your opinion? Did it sound good? Does it need to improve? What needs to improve? What's your opinion? Okay, now do that. That is brilliant. Rather than yelling, you're hot, you're sharp, you're fat, things like that. I just think there's a lot to learn from being kinder to our students. And I'll leave it there. The last thing is, I already covered it. Just delegating those things to section leaders and to sections of your band or orchestra and have them figure it out. So, yeah, master your words.
Got a question for you, John.
Got a question?
Kind of circling back to when you were talking about entering a room and being with people in a meeting. Julie asks, John, how do you balance being the kindest person in the room with being someone I have seen throw down and be the boss and make the hard call when he has to be? You seem to balance the Japanese and USA model as well as anyone I have ever known. You are a humble and a badass and navigate that better than anyone I've ever met. 10-minute manager prompt here. I loved that suggestion from you.
Well, that was a very, very wonderful compliment, Julie. Thank you. I think the question is, how do I balance it? Thank you. That was very, very kind. I don't know how I really don't know how to do it. I think that the trick is being, I was told once by a Japanese colleague when I was struggling on how to handle a very, very uncomfortable situation. I didn't know how stern to be. And he said to me, John, you need to do two things. You need to be clear and you need to be fair. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. It's like the skies did open when he said that. Whether I'm dealing with Jalissa or Catherine or in the teams in New York or the teams in LA or the teams in Hamamatsu or Tokyo or Osaka, regardless of who I'm dealing with, I try to be the person in the room who's being like really, really fair, but who has wicked high standards. I'd never ask anybody to do something that I wouldn't ask myself to do. And I think I ask more of myself than anyone else could. So I try to be, I am driven. I'm a little bit over-prepared, a little obnoxious when it comes to that stuff sometimes, I'm told. But the balance comes from just recognizing that progress is crucial in everybody's life. And as long as it's slow and moving forward, man, I'm in, and you have me behind you. But if progress is not happening because you're not trying, you will lose me in a second. And I won't, support you. So I kind of hold people responsible, I think, Julie. And they do me too. That's for sure. My bosses and my team members too are pretty tough on me. So thank you for that. Thank you for that compliment and for that question. Okay, we good?
Do you want to take another question?
Sure, we'll take another question.
All right. Ian Gernhardt again asks, you've talked a lot about motivation, but how do you avoid or deal with fatigue in drumming and in life?
The question is, from Ian, how do I deal with fatigue in drumming and in life.
How do you keep your motivation?
How do I keep my motivation?
Well, how do you deal with your fatigue? Yeah,
Mhm.
you're right.
Yep. How do I deal with fatigue, and how do I keep my motivation? The analogy of, your mind being a big, huge, old, empty field, and if you don't plant anything, then weeds will grow. That's really, really true. I, Carolyn laughs at me because just the stacks of books that I have all around, and it seems like I never finish one, but I'm always into one, and then I go to the other. And I would not be a motivated person left to my own devices. I think I'd be pretty lazy, actually. I don't know. I just have got to get my head into videos of drummers who I feel are real beautiful musicians, and music that I'm just that I just really love to keep my soul fed. I love books on art and poetry and all of that stuff, just to keep my soul fulfilled, and read spiritual things. I'm a Christian. I try to keep my head in the Word. As far as fatigue and drumming goes, I'll tell you, it doesn't get easier as you get older, that's for sure. That's why I do run, and that's why I really do push myself to work on small, fast speed and bigger muscles for long periods of time, just to remain in shape. Because if somebody calls you and say, can you play this type of gig that you're not used to, like light jazz, fast jazz or something like that, you can't say, yeah, I'll need 2 weeks to get in that zone. Or if it's going to be a loud, long, powerful, show, you can't say, well, I'll need to work out for 2 weeks. You just kind of always be in that, state of preparedness. I'm a big fan of good sleep. And like I said, it probably sounds corny, but, coming from an old guy, but just like, just really, really drinking tons of water and trying to, watch what I eat as best as I can. And I turn off from social media and turn off, like from TV and stuff like that, just for my own mind. We're going through a lot of stuff right now in the world, and I know when it's affecting me, and I know that I can't watch the news all the time. I try to be empathetic and knowledgeable, but I know when my soul is being pulled down by things and by people, honestly. I don't hang with people that are, downers, or who will look at things and always find out, the bad stuff. I just need the people who are going to make me laugh and bust on me and keep me sharp. And, so I hope that answers your question. Thanks for that question. Okay, we're going to move on. How are we doing on time? All right, we're going to plow through these. We talked about master your words, right? So now we're going to talk about number 6, which is do one thing and do it now. Number 6 is do one thing and do it now. Man, I wish I knew this. I was a busy idiot for the majority of my life, trying to please everybody and just trying to just do so much and try just to have people like me. And I would say yes to everything. And, it was hectic. It was frenetic. It was just not fun, being me at all. And sometimes it isn't now when I get overwhelmed, for sure. I mean, in our office, we deal with over 800 artists. And that's a lot of people. That's a lot of personalities, like a lot of people say, oh, that sounds like the neatest job in the world. And we always laugh and we always say, yeah, it is. Sometimes. And it is sometimes. And other times it's really hard. You're not dealing with widgets, you're dealing with personalities and expectations. So we manage those expectations, the best we can. But I just want you to know that, our minds are not designed to do more than one thing at a time, man, I'm telling you. This multitasking thing, well, first of all, women are a heck of a lot better at it than men are, that's for sure. I've seen Carolyn and, and people at work, just like do 3 things at once. And my mind, just explodes. But men, you're not good at this. So just stop it. You're doing more damage than good. It's impossible to be artistically creative when you're on this wheel that is spinning all the time. You can't expect to be creative and to be beautiful in your thought and effective. It's like going in the Louvre Museum or the Museum of Fine Art, in New York City on a motorcycle and flying by all of the art and saying, well, got that done. There'll be absolutely no effect if you're just trying to do so much at once. So here's what I present to you. I think that you need to just, when you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to get things in front of you. You may have a stack of books that you need to go through for homework, or a list of things that you need to read. You may have a stack of music that you've got to prepare for wind ensemble and jazz ensemble and percussion ensemble, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you got to look at that. And then you've got to realize that you can only play one note or one chord at one time. And you start with one piece. And you figure out how much you're going to work on. And you do focused practice on that one piece for the amount of time that you need to. And then you put it away. And you go to the next piece. You compartmentalize. I just hope this brings some sanity sometimes, because I know what it's like, believe me. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails and calls and projects all the time. And sometimes I just feel like, oh my God, I don't even know where to begin. You have to begin with doing one thing. And that has brought me some peace in all these years. And I hope it helps you. You need to just slow it down, get off the treadmill for a minute. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. If you're working on one piece, don't be thinking about the science project and the other piece. And, your best friend in times like this is, just airplane mode. You got to bring it in. You got to zone in. And you just have got to accomplish just one thing at a time. I know I keep saying it, but I hope you hear me. And the part about do it now. So I said, do one thing and do it now. I really think that if I had one, superpower, it's not talent and it's not brilliance. It's just urgency. I try to get stuff done, and thoughtfully and quickly and move on, because I just can't get backlogged. That paralyzes me. Success with anything is starts with action and movement. I see a lot of people analysis into paralysis about certain things, but they won't get off the dime and move something. You get so much energy if you do something. Don't let the thoughts overpower you. Stop thinking. You should think about stuff. You should plan, but not too long. And then you put it aside and you move and you do something. If it's one thing, just do it, get it done, but don't hesitate and overanalyze. I was really, really good at that, but I think I've grown out of that, and I hope that helps you. So do one thing, but do it. Get it done now. Along that line, call mom, call dad. If you need to apologize for somebody, don't dwell on it. Just pick up the phone and say, hey, that was stupid. I'm sorry. Will you accept my apology? You don't have to make it a massive, massive thing unless you feel like you need to. But just get on the phone and get said what you need to get said. But, in this day and age, what we're going through, we at Yamaha, we just lost such a dear, close friend, Ed Boyer, who, man, I've worked with him for 23 years, and he passed. And it was so, so disturbing. You don't want to have too many of those people leave your life without, getting on the phone and saying what you need to say. So call mom, okay? Great. Good. I think we're going to move on to number 7. Number 7 is the power of listening. The power of listening. And this is really, really crucial, whether you're a musician or not. But man, I'll tell you, this really has helped me out in my professional career more than anything. I think that I can safely say to you that I have the biggest deals, the biggest wins I've ever had as a professional man in the music business have never been a result of what I've said. They've always been a result of things that I didn't say, and for my ability to just be like a really, really good listener. I think that, when I pass away on my gravestone, I'd be happy if it said, here's John Wittmann. He was a good listener. Goodbye. That would be fine with me. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. If you're not on the same same wavelength as someone, or you're trying to get to know someone, you're trying to get, figuring out what's going to happen with you in the relationship professionally or personally, whatever, it's like you got to listen, man. You have to just drop those shields, stop talking, stop interrupting people, and be a fantastic listener. I have just one word written down here to trigger something, and it just says GAD. Quick story, I was in New York and had the amazing opportunity to just be in a rehearsal studio with Steve Gadd and a group as he was trying to learn a ton of material in just a few hours for not only a performance, but a record date. And while going to the studio and then at the studio, he just listened so much. He just had these big ears and just would take in everything and ask, can we do it one more time? Can we do it one more time? Can we do it one more time? And he just turned that listening into all of the power that he has, but he didn't try to play too much at the onset. It was all about soaking in the vibe and the culture and the structure of everything. And then when it was time, when the red light went on, it was beautiful. He was completely prepared and at ease because he was just a consummate listener. So wisdom is the reward. This is a quote that I wrote, and it makes sense. Wisdom is the reward you get from a lifetime of listening when you would have preferred to be talking. I'll say that again. Wisdom is the reward you get from a lifetime of listening when you would have preferred to be talking. So actually, correction, I did not write that, but it really makes sense. You can gain so much from just being a fantastic listener. When I think of people like, I did a lot of work down in Washington, D.C. with senators and congressmen, trying to advocate for, to be there for music advocacy. When you meet a senator, man, they're like, what's your name? I'm John Wittmann. Where are you from? Carmel, Indiana. Okay, John Wittmann, go ahead. And they're like, like right there, and you are on, but they are listening to every word, and you have to. I just took that lesson, and I just loved it. Just listen more, listen better, and it will really help you a lot. Last thought on listening, and then we'll move on, is please listen to what you say in your mind to yourself. It really matters. Your self-talk, man, every time I hear myself putting myself down about, I don't sound good, or I'm not, sharp enough, or this or that, I shut that crap down fast. And I shut it down in ways just by working harder to try to be sharper or better or musically more proficient, But I pay attention to self-talk, and I think you should too. The master and the fool. The master is always saying to you, give me one more hour. You can do this. You're doing so great. I love you. Your playing sounds fantastic. Keep going. While the fool says, you're tired, man. You've done so much. Why don't you just relax? Go home, chill, have a beer. You did great today. And the master says, no, my God, no, not yet. You have not even scratched the surface. Come on, let's go. Let's go. I love your playing. I love how you are. Keep going. So you got, it's like the devil or the angel thing. It's like, who are you going to listen to? So pay attention to who you listen to in your mind too. Okay, great, cool. How are we doing?
Good. I have a question real quick, circling back to that stack of books that seems to be all over our house.
Okay.
Liz Alexander wanted to know, what is your favorite book, John?
So Liz Alexander, thank you. I'm prepared. I have several books that I can share with you right now, and this will live on. You can come back and check these out if you don't have time to write them down now. I think probably some of my best, most favorite books would be the Bible, would be Zen guitar. It's about guitar, but you can apply it to any instrument. The Savvy Musician by David Cutler. Beyond Talent by Angela Miles Beeching. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. anything written by Austin Kleon. That's Austin Kleon. And I really loved Essentialism by Greg McKeown, which is McKeown. Okay? I hope that helps a little bit. I got a ton more. Okay, so we keep plowing away here? Okay, good. That was listening. All right, so real quick one here. The number 8 is reign over your technology. Reign over your technology. And you know what? I don't really think that you need, a big lecture, from me about, cell phone usage and everything like that. But I will tell you that it's really important that you know that people realize how you are managing your technology. In other words, like when I'm interviewing people or I'm around young people, I understand. I mean, look, I struggle with it too, right? So I'm not like, like some old geezer who doesn't have a cell phone, or I have like an old flip phone. I deal with technology constantly. But I am telling you that I notice how you deal with your technology. There's certain professional protocols that you've got to get together. When you're at a meal, turn it on buzz, or what do they call it? Vibrate, and get it off the table. It's totally cool to say to a small group of people, if you're meeting and you have, an important personal or medical or whatever, welcoming is totally okay before you start. Just say, hey, everybody, listen, before we start, I have an important call that I must take. I'm sorry, if it rings, I'm going to have to take the call. And everybody will be like, okay, fine. But you took the step to be professional in that regard. I think that, that cell phones have a real way of taking the magic away from moments. A few months ago, we went down to Nashville. Carol and I went down Nashville to see the Raconteurs. My God, I love that band so much. And it was one of the best musical experiences I've ever had in my life. Why? Because before we went in, they gave us these little things that, pockets and zipped and locked. You couldn't use your cell phone, during the show. You couldn't take pictures, and you couldn't record. You couldn't, take pictures or anything. Man, the music just leapt into me, and I was so moved. And I know it's because I wasn't behind somebody doing this. So, look, young people, hear me. Control that stuff. Get on that, rein it in, and be completely in control of your cell phone and technology. Also know that there are two people that you've got to manage right now. You've got the physical, analog, skin and bones person that you've got to take care of, right, physically. But there's also this digital person out there that you've got to really, really keep that stuff reeled in, keep it pure, good, beautiful, relevant, fantastic. It should be killer. If you're going to post something, man, make it really, really good. Okay. But you got to manage both of those. So reel in that technology. Privacy is sacred. Don't be so available that, you're just all over the place all the time. Don't obsess over metrics, how many reposts or, tweets or likes, etc. We all do it a little bit, but get over that, especially when it comes to your art, and share only quality art, only quality music that you want people to really hear. Is it beautiful? Is it relevant? Get that stuff together. So, keep an eye on yourself as far as technology goes, okay? Cool. We're closing in on the end here. I've got two more, and I'm not sure if we have any more questions.
I do have a question, but I'll wait.
Okay. All right, good. So number 9 is embrace change and expect it. Number 9 is embrace change, and you can, you can put challenges in there too and expect it. I love the quote from Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. And that is so true, man. It is so true. Everybody's got a plan. They know exactly what they're doing. And then life comes along and gives you a right hook, and everything goes in crazy directions. I know we can all relate to that right now, can't we? Yes, we can. So there are rocks in the road ahead. Are they going to be stumbling blocks, or are they going to be stepping stones? You've got to decide. They're going to come your way. If you focus on the hurt, you will suffer. If you focus on the lesson, you will grow. There's nothing I can say to you that's going to prepare you for these rocks in the road, but trust me when I say that you will get through this. I do believe you go through them for a reason. I don't know why. I can't tell you, but I do know that there is something to be learned from every change and obstacle in your life. So please just hear me, and for what it's worth, don't be scared. They're going to happen. And man, if you're in the music business, it's hard enough to be a fantastic, beautiful player and to manage relationships and timing and management and all that stuff. But changes, come from all over, and you just have got to really, really just accept them, internalize them, learn from them, and play through the mistakes, play through the changes. You just got to work your way out of it. You're going through it for a reason. Like they say, it's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it. Quick story. Sorry, Garth, I gotta bring you in here. Garth Gilman will always be one of my most influential bosses and leaders. And he was in a car accident a while ago, a few years ago now. And man, we were so devastated because he was hurt so badly. And the first time, I can't tell you how upset we were because he was hurt so badly. And the first time I actually talked to him on the phone, I'm like, oh my God, Garth, how are you, man? Are you okay? And he's like, it was the best car accident I could have ever had. And I was like, what does that mean? How can you even say that? And he said, well, the first car accident I was in, Jennifer was with me and she was hurt very badly. This car accident, I was alone. Fantastic. That's a really, really good car accident. Nobody else was hurt. Like, okay, Garth, I'll give you that one. And then he said, the second thing was the first accident I had, X amount of broken bones and broken this and broken that. And this car accident, I had like less broken bones. He did the math and he told me, but he was like less hurt some way. I was like, okay, Garth, I get it. And he said, but the best thing about this accident was the fact that in the first accident, it was my car, man, my baby car. It was, I love this car. I did so much work on it. It was just great, And in this accident, it was like a rental car or like a lease car or something like that. He goes, so it didn't even matter. So he was happy about that. And I thought, man, if you can reframe, an accident like that in those terms, you really, really got it together. Terrible accident, but how we viewed it really, really made the difference. So, you are going to hit things in life. When that happens, work harder, volunteer, make art, keep going. Okay. So that having to do with change, and I also want you to know that change has got to come from you too, and take it from somebody who did make some really, really super uncomfortable changes in my life. They're worth it. If you know something must change, you have to have the courage to change it. I heard Vinnie Colaiuta say that once in a drum set clinic forever ago, and it stopped me in my tracks. I'll say it again. You must have the courage to change what you know must change. Literally, when he said that, I decided to completely change the trajectory of my career from being a band director to going out on the road and again, and being a professional player. So learned a lot from that. So be brave. Make the changes you know you must be changing. Get good advice, think it through, but don't be scared to make those tough changes. So what we're going to do is we have one more thing, number 10, and then we'll see if there are any questions. We'll take them, and if not, we can sign off. We're doing really good here. 2 more minutes. Okay, so I'm getting messages from Carolyn, and I'm not sure what they mean, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, she says keep going, so I'm going to keep going. She's going.
Love you, Daddy.
Not too smart, am I? Oh boy, sorry.
Trying to be in the corner.
Sorry, Julie Hill. So number 10, everybody. This is the last one. Thank you for hanging with me. Okay. Number 10 is look inside a lot. Look inside a lot. Oh man, I wish I knew this when I was like 20, or like 19. I just was an idiot running around, and I didn't take time to stop and think, wait a minute. what must what must John do? What do I have to think about? What do I have to pray about? What do I need to meditate about? Stop the madness, slow down, and make time. Listen, here's the message about this, especially young people who are on this unbelievable treadmill in music school, man. I remember it really, really well. Here's the deal. You need to make time to be quiet. You need to make time to be quiet with no phone, out in nature if possible, and just be super, super open. And you've got to design the perfect day. Well, I shouldn't say you've got to. I highly suggest you think about what would the perfect day look like to you? What does it feel like when you wake up? Are you with a significant other? Do 4 children run in screaming? Does no one, or is no one there? Is it a small apartment that you feel really cozy in? Or do you really want a big house? There's no wrong answer here. Do you get up, shower, and put on a really nice suit or a really nice dress and get in a nice car and go to a business that affords you insurance? That's good. Or do you go down in your basement and record tracks from people and get paid well for it because you've really honed your craft? That's really good too. Here's the thing. If you don't design your own perfect day, somebody else will. And you can't let that happen. It's like, like I told you, I'm 60 years old. I can't believe that how much time has gone by so quickly. And I'm glad that I took some time along the way to stop and say, this is not right. I really, really want to have this type of life. The worst thing that I think you can say is, I'm just going to kind of wait and see what happens. That is the kiss of death. Whenever I hear anybody say that, it's like I have a visceral reaction. And if it's like a young guy, like about a school, I just like grab him and go, you can't just wait and see what happens. You've got to make it happen. You've got to get up early. You've got to stay up later. You've got to just work harder. Your whole part-time job, besides the huge full-time job of being a student, is designing what kind of career you want and what kind of life you want, envisioning that and starting to manifest it in your thoughts and in your daily routine. Because whatever you're doing now to your body and to your mind is going to affect you in 5 years and 10 years. It really, really does add up. So look inside a lot. The scariest thing is to not have a vision. And there's no way you can have a vision when you're on that treadmill. So here's just a few questions I want to leave you with, and then I'll check and see if there's any more questions from you, and we can go from there. Here's some questions that I hope will guide you into designing that perfect day. The first one is, number 1, what can I remove from my life that is a distraction? What can I remove from my life that is a distraction? Could be a person, could be a responsibility. Sometimes being on boards of directors and being spread so thin is really draining, and I have to remove stuff. It's very liberating. What's in your wallet? No, what's in your life that's a distraction that you can, artistically remove for your benefit? Number 2 is, what can I share with people? What can I share with people that is completely unique? What is it completely unique that you can share? If my grandfather, Poppy, didn't yell at me when I was playing drums in the living room as a little boy, sing every song you play, sing every song you play. So I did. I just started singing whatever song I was playing, the Beatles or Chicago or Sly and the Family Stone or Earth, Wind and Fire. Whatever I was physically playing, I was singing. Fast forward through high school, played a ton of drums, always sang lead. Through college, got out, took real auditions. The first real audition I took, played well. Okay, great. They said, can you sing? I'm like, yeah, I can sing whatever you want to sing. And they started calling these crazy songs like The Final Countdown. What was that theme from Rocky? Down, down, Eye of the Tiger, all those things. And I could just sing them because I was used to singing. So that was my unique thing. That's what I built drum set clinics on, singing and playing. It was my unique voice. And that's what brought me to Yamaha and the other companies. And here I am with you. So what is it that's unique that only you can do? That's fun. It's really fun. Think about it. Number 3 is, what is my sound? Man, if there's one thing I'm picky about in life, I mean, super picky, it's coffee and like tuning. Man, your drums have got to sound so good. I drive people crazy, but my drums sound good. They do. They sound really, really good. So what is your sound? If you don't know what it is, dude, get on it, figure it out and define it. And then the last one is kind of obscure, but it's in alignment with the other ones. And that is, what do I want? What do I want? Is security a really big thing for me? Or am I a risk taker? I want to be outside taking, making tough choices and scary decisions and, just living on the edge. But nobody can define that. You've got to, ask yourself, what do I want? So, be brave, follow your dreams. That's all good. But I would also pepper that with study some money management, live within your means. You don't need fancy stuff right now if you're in college and you're a student. You don't need that stuff right now. You need to be really, really super careful with your money while you focus on your art. Okay? So let me see if we have any more questions.
We do. We have a couple questions.
Okay,
here.
a couple questions.
R.J. Heel says, hello, John. I have a question for you. What is a leadership quality that you take to heart?
The question is a leadership quality that I take to heart. Curiosity. Thank you for the question. It's curiosity. When I think back on all the years that I've had interns and young people work with me, some of them have gone on to really, really do great things in the music business and in other realms. When they would come up to me after a meeting and say, I don't get it. What is that? What are these acronyms? Or how come you got so mad in that meeting? Or how come you did this? Or what can I do? This is not working. When they had that like innate gritty thing of what is this? What can I do? What can I do to make it better? Man, I'm pardon me, rarely wrong when it comes to people. If they had that gritty curiosity, you got me. I'm in, So in 2 words, gritty curiosity. If I see that in a young person, I think that they've got a really great leadership capability. Good question. Thank you.
All right. I've got another one from Julie.
Julie.
Yeah.
Hi, Julie.
It says, John, I know companies are suffering in general right now during COVID-19. Yamaha seems to be doing better than so many others, and my gut tells me that's due to diversification of the company, mission statement, and the fact that this company reaches out to their artists for feedback on what is responsible and needed and what is not, as you thoughtfully did with me a few weeks, or as you thoughtfully did with me a few weeks ago. Can you put your Yamaha hat on for a minute and talk about the struggles companies might be going through currently and how we might help, just as we would help our favorite small local business? It sounds strange, but Yamaha makes their artists feel like immediate family. So I consider it to be a local business of a hybrid model. We need to support our companies that invest in music education, and I want those listening to know that you and Yamaha are all about this. It makes me so proud to be part of the Yamaha family.
Julie, thank you so much for that. That really, really means a lot. We do try to have, personal great relationships with our artists and with our master educators. Most sincerely, I am so honored to have been a Yamaha performing artist for many years and now, have been a Yamaha full-time employee for 23 years. I've been with this company through ups and downs and through really, really hard times, through reorgs and through many presidents. And I would say that right now we have an executive management team in Buena Park that sincerely care about our employees. You can tell when you read the nightly update from our president, Tom Sumner, or if you get a text or an email from Tracy Bargelski, our vice president of human resources, and other team members also, my boss, Chris Giro, there is a feeling in the company that they're completely responsible for our well-being. We did lose one person to the virus, and we felt like every one of us felt that loss. Yamaha is a big company, but it doesn't feel like a big company. And besides the sound of the instrument that first attracted me to the company, it's always been the people that have been with me through some really, really hard times in life that kept me going. It's been a family from the very beginning, and that has always been the case. So I think that, to your question, I would just ask people to, if you're asking me how they can support Yamaha, I would hope that they would think about the company as an entity that really wants to make your program succeed, and for you as teachers to affect your students in a beautiful way and inspire them to keep growing so they can be music makers for like a whole lifetime. That's so much part of our philosophy, to just be overjoyed with the purchasing of an instrument and to love the sound and to have no regrets and to be able to really trust that instrument. We'd like, musicians and educators who are musicians, just to think about what companies really do care about music education, and have that into consideration when you do buy things and when you hire clinicians and artists. So yes, this is a really hard time for Yamaha. There's no question about it. It's really, really hitting us hard, but we're making really, really good decisions, and we're keeping strong. We're keeping in very, very close contact all the time, and I can't imagine being with any other company right now. Not only because of, like I said, the products, but it's the people who really, really make the difference. I am not just saying this, folks. I really, really do believe in the company, and have been honored to be a part of it for this long. So thank you, Julie. We love having you in our family. The closing thing?
No, remind everybody they can find your clinic PDF.
Oh,
in the live comments.
I'm being told to remind you that you can find my PDF in the live comments section, right? Of the Facebook Live post. And are we good? Okay. So thank you, Julie and Alexis and everybody for having me, and thank you, Carolyn, for helping me get through this. It's really been fun, and I hope that you've learned from it. And I have too. I learned a lot about technology. That's usually pretty daunting for me. But so thanks again for having me. And remember to tune in to this again. Tune in weeknights. I'm going to read this so I don't screw it up. Tune in weeknights, Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time to watch Keeping the Beat Live. And remember to tell your friends about our program. Presenters who wish to apply to host an episode, you can send your applications via TNMEA, like Tennessee Music Educators Association.org. So again, thank you very, very much for hanging out with me, and be well, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.